I want to take you through, as promised, to the journey of how I came about. I come from a small township in northern of KZN, in north of KZN, called Mandeni. I was raised by my grandmother. I don't know how she did it. There was five of us in the household, five kids in the household, um, and my granny was a pensioner. And at that time, I think pensioners got 700 rand a month. For some reason, miraculously, we lived. We never went to bed without food. Um, and the most important thing that my granny achieved, that I admire her for, is that we never knew our situation. We never knew our financial position at the time. It is only when we grew up, when we started doing the math and calculations, it is only when I left home and went to Durban with 1,000 rand in my pocket to try and do a civil engineering degree that I learned of my true financial position. So I'm going to try and summarize this as much as possible, but it's very important that I illustrate the whole journey from that time on. So, primary school completed, off to high school. High school goes well until the higher classes in high school, where obviously now you need study guides, you need instruments for technical drawing, you need all those things. Then it starts coming through who's a better kid and who's not. I remember my granny used to sell second-hand clothes and vegetables in the shopping plaza right next to my school. I would be the one to admit that I used to be even embarrassed by her sometimes. I would walk with a crew of my friends sometimes and maybe avoid her and use a different way. But in that process, my granny used to sell her own clothes when I say I need a study guide. God bless her soul and may her soul rest in peace. She used to sell her own clothes. And she didn't know what a study guide is. She didn't know what I was doing. She didn't know what do I mean by civil engineering when I said I wanted to be a civil engineer. But she somehow put me through. I remember after passing my matric, the last gift that my granny gave me financially, where she opened a handkerchief, and inside the handkerchief there was 1,000 rand, and she gave me that 1,000 rand, and he said, "Go on, my boy, be what you want to be." That was actually the last financial injection from my parents that I can recall. That 1,000 rand, but that 1,000 rand set me up. From that 1,000 rand, I went to Emangosutu Technicon in Umlazi. At the queues, we apply, get accepted, civil engineering S1. Long story again short there, dropped out after a year. Financial reasons, I haven't been paying ever since that 1,000 rand. Now I'm faced with the reality of going back to Mandeni, which I couldn't bear, which was catastrophic to me because, as a dreamer, people laugh at you when you dream. So the most painful thing that can happen to you as a dreamer is to fall right back into the people that that were laughing at you, is to come back and fall right in their faces. So here I am fighting to sustain my life in Durban, crashing with friends there and there. I'll mention them one day in one of these clips. Crashing with friends there and there. I'm a burden. I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying to survive. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Everybody's like, that is where I actually learned of my financial position. That is where I actually learned of how alone in the world, if I can put it like that, I am. That is where I first experienced sleeping in the dustbins. There was a time I came back late from whatever I was doing, whether it's job hunting. I came back late, and I remember my friends were staying in John Ross' house in Durban. I didn't have a phone. Tried to convince them that I'm going to this number. They're expecting me. It's already. I explained to them. By the time I realized how long I've been talking to them, it was 9:30 at night, and it was very dangerous in Durban at that time. I remember when we take out the dustbin with my friends. When I'm in there, that it's right behind. There's those big bins that they keep in the basements. I went there, got 2 cardboards, laid them down, and I crashed. I didn't even tell my friends in the morning. They don't even know this. I didn't even tell them. When I came in the morning, they didn't even know where I was. I didn't even tell them that I had crashed there. Those I can say were the hardest days of my life. It goes on and on and on. Rejection, relatives, thinking that this relative will have me covered, thinking that this pastor in the church that is very close with my mom, that have negotiated that I go stay there, thinking that there will be a good person that will make sure that, those were the hardest days of my life. All right, so fast forward to my breakthrough. There was a learnership that I had applied to. It was sponsored by the Durban municipality for system development. It was for IT graduates. Mind you, I'm a civil engineering dropout. I left my CV there. It was the last action I did before I had 16 rand to go back to Mandeni. 16 rand, if I dropped 1 rand, the taxi wasn't going to accept me. Took a taxi back home. I remember I was sitting at home, started drinking more, I started hanging every night. I'm out. One thing that saved me for a while was I volunteered as a tutor in my previous high school. I volunteered as a tutor. I taught there for 6 months. I remember I did mathematics with matriculants and grade 10 for 6 months when the teacher was in a car accident at that time. That kept me. I wasn't getting paid. I used to walk 5 kilometers to school. So I was walking the same distance that I was walking. I was going through the same hunger that I was experiencing as a student. But it kept my mind at least occupied. Somebody appreciated what I'm doing. So I did that for 6 months. In that process, breakthrough came. There was a time I remember I was walking to buy electricity because now I'm back at home. Me and Gogo too, me and my granny. There's 2 of us now in the house. I remember at a point we would make a fire outside and boil beans. Hard beans, the hard beans that you boil for 3 hours. We'll boil beans, not even a plan of what's going to happen to it while it's boiled and soft, because usually you would need oil and onions to fry it and make it a stew. We would boil beans and there's no plan. That's all we had. That's all there is. So I would be out with friends pretending like I'm cool as they are, and sometimes a friend sends you 2 beers with a 20 rand and there's a foreign change. Put it in your pocket, sneak out, buy a small bottle of oil, rush home, put it there, and come back and continue being a cool like all other boys. So I remember I had done the same, and I had a 10 rand in my pocket, and I remember that we had no electricity in the house, and I was walking to buy electricity at a local service station. That's where I got the call. I had a small phone then. That's where I got a call. Told me that they asked me how did I apply for an IT graduate's learnership as a person who has just matriculated and who didn't even complete a civil engineering, and even if I did, it's irrelevant to what they're going to do because they're looking for IT graduates here to accelerate them into jobs. So they asked me to come through and justify myself. I've never been so happy in my time. I was crying. I didn't care who sees me. I was jumping. I was screaming.